Hi guys, welcome to another Learn Electronics Repair video. I just want to have a very quick chat with you today about something that I was doing that is really stupid. So this is to advise you not to make the same mistake. This is something I've known about for years, but sometimes you just forget the most obvious things. So I'll show you and you can all have a laugh at my expense and then think, hey, perhaps I better check that myself. So I have a little project here. This is a little amplifier. It's a headphone amplifier I've made as a prototype for somebody who wants to produce a couple hundred or so of these for a specific purpose and they can't use off-the-shelf ones. So I was working on the project. I couldn't get it to work. Problem with the mute circuit option in the end. But I was using my oscilloscope to look around it and I couldn't find very much in the way of sensible waveforms, and I'll show you what I'm seeing on the oscilloscope and what I did, and then this all becomes very relevant in a few minutes time. Now you can see the scope screen. I will show you what I was doing. So I'm on channel 1. I have two probes attached to the oscilloscope on channels 1 and 2. Now this one is on channel 2. I'm effectively using this to connect to ground of my bench power supply that is providing 5 volts for this amplifier. This is the 5 volts coming in. So what I'm doing is with the scope probe is I'm looking at the input and I should have here an audio signal coming in, and as you can see I'm not seeing anything on the scope. Yeah, I can turn the sensitivity up, so we're on 2 volts per centimetre at the moment. I can set it to 0.2 of a volt, yeah? And again, we're not really seeing anything there. Okay? I can go to the 5 volts, so this is the 5 volts coming in. And I can see I have about 712 millivolts. Yeah? On there. This is ground, this is where the black lead is clipped off the other probe. So I'm doing that because the ground lead on this isn't very long, so I often do this. I use the ground lead on one probe and I use the other probe myself. I'm set to ×1 on the probe. So why am I only seeing 720 millivolts here? Well, obviously this hasn't got any power coming in from the bench power supply. So I'll put the meter where you can see it. I'll just go to ground, which is here, power. And I have 5 volts. I have 5 volts coming in. But the scope probe is telling me I have 720 millivolts. So I checked obviously some things like this is set to ×1 on here. I can go into the menu on my scope. And it's set to ×1, so that isn't the problem. So I thought, well, maybe my scope's packed in, maybe I've got a problem with channel 1. I'll try channel 2. So we're now on channel 2, it's gone blue. And what I've done now, I still want to put the ground on. So I connect my scope probe to channel 2. I'll choose channel 2. I connect my other scope probe with the ground clip to channel 1. I still have a ground and I can measure again, so I'm now on channel 2, yeah? What do I see? Well, I see about, according to this, 40 millivolts, yeah? Let's change the sensitivity, so I'm on 1 volt per centimetre. I'm on 5, yeah? Sorry, a half. What voltage do I see? Well, I don't see anything. I realise I'm on AC coupling. Okay, so channel 2, coupling, DC. You know, easy mistake to make, yeah? We're now on DC. What do we see? Well, I see about 720 millivolts. So let's try another range. Let's try the 1 volt. 760 millivolts. This will probably go off the screen, 200 millivolts. 720 millivolts. So I'm only seeing 720 millivolts on both channel 1 and channel 2. So it looks like my scope's packed in. And this is where I got to. I very shortly after that actually figured out what the problem is. And the problem, way I figured that is, I disconnected the probe on channel 2. Yeah, I've still got the probe on channel 1, so I still have the ground connected. We'll take this probe off. And I have quite a few scope probes here. I probably have about 6 of them. So I just get another scope probe. Take my scope probe now, put it on channel 1. So I've switched it over. Yeah, still have the ground on this one. And what do we have? Well, it's gone off the end of the screen again. So let's turn the sensitivity down a bit. 2 volts per division. Yeah, and we have 5.2 volts. You can see it's on the display. So in actual fact, the oscilloscope's working fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the oscilloscope. Both channels are working fine. What's wrong with it is this scope probe. Yeah, this scope probe isn't working. It's giving me some stupid readings. Yeah, it's not measuring properly. The thing seems to be falling apart anyway. It's also got a little bit of braid on here, but I wouldn't say it was broken. So there you go, guys. The problem here is that I was using this scope probe when I made the previous video, all you need to know about HDMI to fix stuff. And it's quite likely that some of the readings I was getting on the signal to the PCH from hot plug of about 0.4 volts has nothing to do with a problem in respect with that signal on the HDMI. The problem is that the equipment I was using to measure it is fault. Yeah. So you guys can chastise me in the comments below because I deserve it. And the important lesson here, guys, is always test your equipment before you use it. Yeah, always test your equipment before you use it, because if you don't, then you'll end up in this situation sooner or later. Yeah. Unfortunately, the laptop with a problem with the HDMI has gone back to the bar so they can use it in the daytime to play music. And it's waiting some little MOSFETs that I ordered that may well have nothing to do with the actual fault. And it may also explain why I couldn't find the fault on that, why I couldn't fix it. Yeah, I felt it was important enough to make this short video to show you where and why I went wrong, in the hope that you guys will not make the same mistake. Okay, remember that one, guys, please. And I'll see you all soon on another Learn Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.